These idols have no power here.
They have more than your empty church.
The dark truth about the Christmas tree. The hidden story of an ancient ritual. What if I told you, every year you celebrate a ritual that isn't Christian, isn't Roman, isn't European, but thousands of years older? A ritual so powerful that even big religions couldn't destroy it. A ritual the church first wanted to ban.
This pagan worship must end now. We only honor the great trees.
And later secretly adopted. And all of that is hidden in this one symbol that you're currently decorating with ornaments, lights, and tinsel. The Christmas tree isn't just a decoration. It's a cultural fossil. A survivor from a time when people still made sacrifices to force the sun to return. And if today you think you're celebrating harmony and family, then wait until you hear how this ritual really began. Stay tuned, because the truth will surprise you. The world before light. Imagine Europe as it was, long before maps, cathedrals, and kings shaped the land. Just forests, swamps, and old paths winding through endless trees. The nights were so long and cold that entire generations planned their survival around a few warm months. The idea that the sun might just not come back was a real scary possibility. In these lands, people created their gods from what seemed most lasting, and nothing seemed more lasting than the green of evergreen trees in the deepest winter. People quickly learned to read nature's signs as messages. The last birds flying south, the crack of certain branches, the flickering light on tree bark. Everything could be a sign. In many areas, spots under old trees became gathering places. Here people argued, here they married, here they buried the dead, and here they sought advice before winter. Some trees were given names, some were surrounded by stones, some trees were not allowed to be cut down because people believed a power lived in them that protected the village. These places grew into cultural hubs. Myths gathered, legends grew, and sank deep into the shared memory. You know, botanically, an evergreen tree is a real survivor. But culturally, it's been a symbol that people connected with gods, ancestors, and power. In many old stories, the evergreen tree stands for life that makes it through winter. It's like a pillar connecting the world and the sky. The Celts might have hung fruits and offerings on branches. Germanic tribes rode around the tree. Slavic traditions tied ribbons to branches as prayers. The ways they did it changed, but the reason why stayed the same. And everywhere, there's this feeling that nature itself has a voice, and that the green of the needles is a promise, not just physically, but spiritually. Old findings show us that worshipping trees was deeply connected to seasonal rituals, farming cycles, and honoring ancestors. In times of bad harvests or tough winters, trees became places for offerings, bread, incense, jewelry. It was a trade, life for protection. In some areas, trees were wrapped with animal hides, in others, they had carvings. In some cases, a whole group of priests formed to guard the tree as if it were a temple. Bringing branches or whole trees into the house is a cultural response to a real-world need. It was about bringing the forest's survival into the home. Decorating with golden balls, apples, or mirror pieces was never just for show. These were symbolic gifts: the earth's fertility, mirrors to ward off evil, and sparkle to multiply the light. In some old stories, small animal figures were hung up as stand-in sacrifices. In others, wheat wreaths and little knives were attached, as signs of protection and provision. The lights on the tree were first flames, then candles, and each flame was a ritual. The light was both an offering and a prophecy, meant to copy and speed up the sun's journey. In some places, there were ritual dances around the tree, songs, and the telling of family stories. The tree was a mouthpiece, a stage, and an altar all at once. The yearly need to fight off fear of not surviving through action, that's the tree's main job. It brings people together and gives them hope. Early Christians and forbidden things. As the new teachings spread across the Roman Empire and Germanic lands, they met a world where religious practice was local, physical, and tied to the land, not abstract and thought-based like written scripture. Church leaders often looked down on tree worship. They believed in one all-powerful God and thought there shouldn't be any competing nature spirits.
We condemn your false worship of trees.
Writings from later centuries kept criticizing pagan customs and called for purity. Bishops preached against worshipping the green things and demanded conversion instead of blending in.
This idolatry has no place in our sacred house.
In some areas, penance rituals were introduced for those who took part in tree festivals. Church laws banned these rites that seemed pagan. People were denied offerings and faced penalties. But these bans bumped up against what was actually possible. How could a church erase the inner life of a village culture that revolved around the forest, seeds, and fire? This led to conflicts, adjustments, and political moves. Some local saints took on pagan traits, some priests allowed secret customs, while others actively hunted them down. Instead of a campaign of repression, most church practices decided to be practical, transform instead of erase. What we call Christian appropriation today was often a process of compromise, tactics, and an attempt to ensure religious continuity to avoid destroying social order. Local gods were reinterpreted as saints, customs got new stories, temples changed into churches, so the form stayed, only the meaning shifted.
We must reject these pagan practices.
Examples of this can be found in many sources. Spring festivals were blended with Easter, sun festivals with Christmas, and local ritual trees gained a Christian legend or a saint as a patron. In some areas, an earlier sacrifice site was reinterpreted. Instead of blood sacrifices, alms were given. Instead of animal sacrifices, ribbons with blessings were tied to branches. This was less a silent theft, and more a cultural act of translation. The message had to be understandable for people who didn't care for abstract theology.
We condemn these pagan practices. Tree cults.
Between the years 1000 and 1600, new ways of using trees became common in Europe. We saw them go from private altars to public celebrations, and from farm symbols to special city objects. In the late Middle Ages, you'd see a paradise tree in plays about the Bible. This was a leftover from older traditions, but now it was part of telling Bible stories. In the big houses of early modern times, we start to see the first decorated trees indoors. Often, this was connected to hanging an evergreen branch over the door, which people believed would bring protection. It's just small steps. A branch here, a play there, until the tree became popular in certain areas during the 16th and 17th centuries. First it was among the rich, then it spread to regular townspeople. Later, in the 19th century, the decorated tree became very popular in Germany and then spread to England and the USA. It's a story of how something went from being a fancy trend to something everyone did. A tree is like a bridge, both physically and in what it means. Its roots are in the ground and its top reaches for the sky. This makes it a great picture of the universe, of things connecting. Its needles stay green all year, showing things that last. And a tree's straight up and down shape clearly shows how things grow from the earth toward the light. When we think about how people feel, we react strongly to tall shapes. They stand for growing, feeling safe, and knowing where you are. So a tree works really well deep down in our minds. For rituals, it's perfect for symbols. You can hang things, tie things, place things, and each of these actions becomes a message. We ask for life, we hold on to hope. And politically, it's useful. A tree can bring people together. It's easy to show visually and works as a piece of culture that can grow, make money, and become stronger. Archaeological finds, place names, old stories, and early writings all show a pattern. Tree worship and tree cults pop up again and again on the map of prehistoric Europe. Where digs uncovered old settlements, people often found special places for worship with wood, stones, and artifacts, along with repeated clues about plant rituals. These clues don't automatically mean there are universal religious truths, but they do show something that continued over time. People have always given meaning to plants and trees. The Christian Bible doesn't mention a decorated Christmas tree or say you have to have one, but it does talk about struggles with nature worship and warns against other gods. This tension was a big part of how things changed over time. Pagan. For many people who look to folk and nature traditions, the tree remains a symbol of being connected to the earth, a memory of ancestors, and the power of nature. Christian. For Christians, the image was changed. Light on the tree stands for Christ as the light of the world. Harmful things were removed from the ritual, and the tree became a teaching tool. Modern. In the 20th and 21st centuries, the tree has gone through a second big change, becoming commercialized. String lights, store-bought ornaments, and consumer spending have given the tree a new economic side. At the same time, the tree keeps an emotional role. It marks family history, personal stories, memories of celebrations, of losses and making up. So, you can read the tree like a document where each layer is written over the last, without completely erasing it. It's easy to either condemn cultural appropriation or romanticize it with rose-tinted glasses. But the true story is more complicated. People have used rituals in clever ways to keep their identity. The church taking over can be seen as a smart political move, but also as a way to translate culture, making it easier to go from one way of seeing the world to another. Whether this is a moral problem today depends on how we handle memories and being open about things. Do we know where things come from? Do we see the different layers? And do we treat traditions with respect? Let's look at the medieval versions of the paradise tree in Passion plays. Here, a pagan image was brought into a Christian theater form, with a clear teaching purpose. Some old writings tell us how local rulers had trees planted to show their power. Others mention how trees were decorated when people made promises. Later, in early modern times, we find clues that trees were used to show off wealth. If you had a decorated tree in your house, it meant you were rich and important. And, during the time of factories and big machines, this tradition turned into something everyone bought. Christmas markets, making lots of ornaments and electric lights, made the tree something you saw everywhere. Some myths tell how giants or world trees fall, and from their fall, landscapes are created. These stories connect nature's shapes with the history of the universe. In the way these myths let us see things, a tree becomes like the center of the world. When it falls, it shows big changes in the land and in society. It's a way of talking about huge transformations. These kinds of images help us understand why people see mountains or strange flat-topped hills as if they were once living things that changed. They are like picture maps for big disasters or major shifts.
These beans.
The church, as it grew, needed to bring cultures together. It used rituals to create community instead of causing fights. By taking in the tree, it got support from local leaders who wanted things to be stable. So, rituals became part of a new government Christian system. This act was practical, but not neutral. It shaped culture, set rules, and changed what people remembered together. So, when you find yourself in front of your decorated tree this year, think about the layers. You're not just hanging ornaments, you're doing something that people have done for thousands of years. You're taking part in a special event that turns fear into hope and makes unsure feelings into a sense of togetherness. And you have a responsibility. Knowing things gives you choices. If you know where something comes from, you can thoughtfully decide which parts you want to celebrate. The Christmas tree is more than just a tree. It's a historical record, a spiritual archive, a cultural chameleon. Its power comes from being able to be pagan, religious, and modern all at once. And in this triple role, it finds lasting resonance. When we bring it into our living rooms today, it's not just a custom, it's an echo of people who once stood by fires, striving for light. The question that remains isn't just what the tree was, but what we make of it. Are we preserving a symbol, or are we becoming part of a story that others have long since written?